Hey there, welcome to Createful Art. I'm Ashley Krieger and I'm painting America. Today I'm in the City of Rocks in Idaho. I went out and explored and I found cacti, and so I want to show you how to paint a cactus. Come on, let's go find a cactus. There's a lot of them over here. See? I want to find one with a flower because I want to paint a flower. Over here, you guys, look at these cacti. Look at how they have a little of the pink on the edge there, and where the pokies are coming out of, there's some color. We're gonna have to paint that. This is the donut one. See? Shaped just like a donut. The little flowers right here. They're not blooming yet. We're a little too early for the blooms, darn it. So I'm gonna look for a shape that I want to paint. I really like this one because it's got the two cacti and then it has little blooms on it. Okay, let's go paint it. For supplies, I am being very simple here. One round brush that comes with this watercolor kit. Instead of using masking fluid, I'm using white acrylic paint, and I'm going to go over the watercolor paint, water, and then a paper towel, and that's all you need. For this first step, I'm just going to take my round brush and dab a little tiny bit of green on it. I don't want it to be very dark because I'm just sketching out, and then I'm going to sketch out the outline of my cacti. So it kind of has this bulb right here where it gets larger and then it gets skinny at the bottom, and then it connects, to another part of the cactus, and then this one gets smaller down here, this tip right here, then it just goes into the ground. So for this part, what you're going to add is the shading. So I'm going to take this brown and this green, and I'm going to shade it down here where there's a lot of shadow. For this step, I'm going to take this water and I'm going to add it to my cacti so I can spread the color around. And it'll pull from that shaded spot, but that's okay, that's what I want to happen. Do the same thing down here. Now I'm going to add the lightest color that I see. So it's kind of like a lime color, so I'm adding yellow and green together. Putting it up here. Okay, and then when I add that color on here, it's going to spread out because of the water. Then I'm just going to add where I see a little more of the shadow through here, but now that I have that water, it's going to spread, and that's what I want. These ridges here, they're not completely even, so I'm going to let them kind of just have some texture here. Okay, and where the pokes come out, there's also darkness. So while I'm adding the little spots where the pokes are, I'm just taking my round brush and just dabbing it, and it's going to spread out, okay, like that, and then I'll have to go in and add more detail, but for now that works. I'm coming down here and adding them in this spot. So now I'm going to add the pink that's on the outside, so I'm going to just make a pink, which is really just a light red, so you don't have to add as much pigment to it. Where some of the pokes are coming out, there's a little bit of pink too. Alright, so while this dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint the ground. So I'm just going to take a little bit of brown and then go across like this, and then take some water and spread it down so that it lightens up. But I don't want the ground to be the main part of this painting, so I'm just going to let it be a small part of it. He's done. Okay, for this step, let's add the little flowers. So they were red. So I'm going to go ahead and make one right here. And they had a lot of little petals in here. Make it how I see it, and then add in that shadow area with a darker red. Okay. And then just fill it in a little bit here and there. And I can add details later. And then I think this one I should have it blooming a little bit more. So I'm going to round it, that darker red, and pretend I know what it looks like when it's blooming, which is probably kind of like this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because that looks like the same size as this one. This flower, I'm going to add some yellow because I figure there's probably yellow or a light color in there. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little more shadow to this one as well, down right through here. So now I'm going to add some detail in this. So there were wrinkles in it. Not in this one, just in this one. So I'm going to add some of those wrinkles. And I'm just taking my olive green and then my other green over here. That's more of a blue green. There's a thunderstorm coming. Can you hear it? Seems to be whenever I try to do something, there's some loudness. So I want these to be random too. I don't want them all to be the same. So I just kind of have to come in and make some random happen because this is not very random. And the wrinkles are lower through here, and then when they come up here there's less of them. So we're just gonna kind of trail off here. Put a little up there but not showing very much. And then I can always lighten this with some water and spread it out. So I can take this and then dab. See how you can still see where the lines are, but they're not as noticeable. Like that. And then this also will break up some of the lines too, so they're not all consistent. Okay, now it looks wrinkly. So I have my white acrylic paint for my pokes, and the white acrylic paint is going to go over my watercolors so that I don't need masking fluid. And the trick to this is that on the color it's going to be white, but when the pokes are on the white part of the paper, it's going to be a gray. I'm making a gray with my brown and my blue, and I made a gray right here. You can mix watercolor paints with your acrylic paints because you're just taking the pigment from it. I'll come up here with my gray, and I'll make a poke here. See how I made a poke and you can see it? And then I take my white, and I continue that poke on the colored part. So there's a poke right in between here, and since it's on color, I'm just going to keep that poke going this way. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my dark paint, since you can't really see, and just add it in between here, because where the pokes are there's darkness. So it's just adding a little more detail. So just make sure that your pokes are coming out of these little center dot things, okay, where there's darkness. So I'm going to add white right here on top of this one, and I'm using, of course, just my one brush, but I'm very, very lightly making the poke, and then I add more pressure as I go down to make it a little thicker. And it looks like they all have just like 3 little pokes coming out of them. I think they're called spines, but I'm going to call them pokies this whole time. And they kind of follow a certain direction, so these ones were going out this way, and then they start poking down. Okay, go ahead and keep doing that until you have all your pokies in here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and sign my work with the pink that's up here, just down right here. So make sure you sign your own work, because you worked hard on it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun and learned something new painting your cacti. This lesson was suggested by a Createful Art member, and you can become a Createful Art member and support these tutorials too and get much more from Createful Art. There is a link in the description below where you can become a member. Thank you to all Createful Art members for supporting these tutorials, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Just a reminder that I am traveling all 50 US states, painting something that inspires me in all... Okay.